If you're into philosophical constructs, cosmic musings, and the probability of magic in our mysterious world, welcome to Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting.
Have you ever been called out as a weirdo, a misfit, or an outcast because you nerd out on topics like ghosts, extraterrestrials, conspiracy theories, cryptids, or anything that isn't mainstream? Do you love exploring different theories, both known and perhaps unknown? If so, join Serena on the Paranormal and Proud podcast and take a journey and see if these topics have more rabbit holes and explained away conclusions by the mainstream. In fact, why not explore yourself? Indeed, why not explore together? Shall we? Tune in to the Paranormal and Proud podcast with your host Serena on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting.
Some people believe that crystals have spiritual properties and can be used to connect with the ancient civilization of Atlantis. They believe the crystals were once used by the Atlanteans for spiritual healing, meditation, and communication. Some people believe that the crystals can still be used for these purposes today. The Atlantis crystal power myth is the belief that crystals from Atlantis have special powers. This myth is often associated with the idea that Atlantis was a highly advanced civilization that was destroyed by a natural disaster. Some people believe that the crystals from Atlantis survived the disaster and can be used to tap into the power of Atlantis. Have you ever tried? Check out Spirit Magica Crystal Shop and use coupon code Troubled Minds, all one word, for 25% off your first purchase.
Welcome to the show, Exiled Minds podcast, with incredibly famous host Liam Martin. Glad you could join us today on a... Oh, I'm not supposed to do the date, so it makes it timeless and that, but... Oh, it's just one of those forced habit things, I'm trying to be all radio-like. But yeah, today. Okay, so Exiled Minds podcast, Liam Martin. Glad you could join us. It's 2023, it's October, we'll say that much. And today we've got a special show that I think it might have to end up being a two-parter because there's a lot kind of to this, but today's show is episode number 42 for the Exiled Minds podcast, and we're doing a show called Circuit Summoning. So what could this be? This is, I'll tell you what it is, I'll give a bit of a subtitle. It is mysterious encounters with the paranormal phenomenon and interference with electronic equipment. It is a little bit of a caveat as well, a little bit of a kind of an extra that sort of goes with it. So that's obviously we'll save that to the end. But yeah, this is so Exiled Minds podcast episode number 42. Still getting used to new equipment and stuff and getting set up, but we're getting there. Got the lighting, got the camera, got the mic working okay now. Everything seems okay. So yeah, so today we're gonna, in the Exiled Minds podcast, we're gonna delve into the enigmatic realm of the paranormal, getting a bit more ghostly. We did the Will of the Wisps show, so now we're gonna do something that's a little bit ghostly, sort of, as we do, and start getting a bit more ghostly. Maybe get James on the show with that. But today we're gonna look in the realms of electronic equipment, an unexplained phenomenon that seem to intersect. Okay, so join us to explore the intriguing topic of the paranormal interference in electronic equipment with intersecting demonology, trying to separate a bit of fact from fiction and the unexplained occurrences. So what we're looking at is circuit summoning. In fact, now I've done that little laugh and talked about demons, let's put some demonology images up. Yeah, let me get rid of this spinning globe overlay. And we'll get you for the radio. I'll just describe, but for the people on the video, we'll get some images there. So have a look at that. So right then, moving on. So the premise of the show today is basically that I've had this notion that's come through conversation with people. I don't know how original it is, that some circuit boards, printed circuit boards, the way that they're printed, the designs, if you can call them a design, is similar to some demonic symbols. Not just demonic, some symbols are occult and get labelled as demonic, but those sorts of things, occult symbols, look a bit like some printed circuit boards. And to go along with that, there's a bit more to it as well, because we'll get into it. So let's introduce the show properly. So it's thought that, comparing occult symbols and connecting that to demonology and the configurations of printed circuit boards might be interesting, somewhat unconventional topic, which I would agree. But occult symbols are often associated. This is the different why it's a bit sort of controversial. Occult symbols are often associated with esoteric and spiritual meaning, whilst printed circuit boards are used in electronics for practical purposes. However, in general, comparison between the two can be made based on visual aspects and some creative interpretation. So, might be reaching a little bit, is what we're saying here. Creative interpretation, that's what that's sort of getting at. But we'll have a look, because the geometric layout is somewhat similar. So geometric patterns with occult symbols, they're often featuring intricate geometric patterns and shapes such as pentagrams, hexagrams and circles. Printed circuit boards also have complex geometric patterns of traces, pads and components which can appear as intricate interwoven lines and shapes. And then on to connectivity. With connectivity in demonology, occult symbols may represent spiritual connections or energies, you know, to the thing you're trying to sort of communicate with. Yeah, you can have a symbol associated with. So it's like a tag, like tagging yourself for graffiti. But in circuit boards, on the other hand, the lines and connections represent electrical pathways and data flow, so they still have meanings. The way, you know, the components and the way those components are arranged, and therefore the pattern that will be there still has its own meaning. So they are signature, so to speak. Like a signature, you could say a signature of a resistor component tends to be a kind of very small barrel shape. It's got a pin on both ends just to resist some electricity, to reduce the flow or reduce the current, whatever. So they have, yeah, the shape is always like, you know, sort of two pins in a barrel kind of thing. So that's giving you an idea that's resisting some flow, you know. So I suppose you could call that, is that a binding spell? Then I guess. But yeah, so the components, of course. So yeah, talking components, yeah. So occult symbols can incorporate various elements and sigils with specific meanings. Just like I was kind of getting at there, you know. There's like a specific meaning to what some of these electronic symbols mean. The specific meanings to what you sort of get what I'm getting at there. So anyway, going back to the script. So yeah, with the connectivity in occult symbolism may represent spiritual connections to different entities, and I suppose that's the same with your components. Occult symbols can incorporate various elements and sigils with specific meanings. Printed circuit boards have electronic components like resistors, which just mentioned, and capacitors and integrated circuits, each with their own function and significance. So they are, yeah, one follows function, so they've all got their own signature way of doing stuff. When it comes to complexity, some occult symbols are very intricate and layered, denoting different levels of meaning. Printed circuit boards can also be highly complex, with multiple layers or traces of components to perform multiple layers of traces of components that perform various functions. And then one of the other categories, looking at intent. Cult symbols are typically used for mystical, religious, or spiritual purposes. Printed circuit boards are designed with intent of controlling or processing electronic signals for technological applications. While there are visual similarities between some occult symbols and the configurations of printed circuit boards, it's important, of course, to remember these two domains serve a very different purpose and have distinct origins and meanings. Any apparent connections between the two are likely coincidental and could be interpreted in various ways, which I wholeheartedly agree with part of that statement, and not with like the other, because I think while it's wholeheartedly agree, this stuff's obviously open to interpretation. Don't think just because they look similar but then they're from, okay, if they look similar, it doesn't mean you throw that out just because they come from different realms with different meanings, sort of thing. They come from different places, different origins. It doesn't mean they're not connected. It doesn't mean you throw out that kind of similarity. That's what I'm saying with when it comes to the geometric patterns. And they deal with the connectivity as well, actually, because we talked about how theurgy is where you try to connect to spirits or demons, whatever, and summonings and stuff. So, you know, and you do a call and response, don't you, in computing? But yeah, and when we look at some of these demonology symbols, they are. I mean, you can kind of look these up yourself as well. I can't really put images in the description, so to speak, but you know, a lot of electronic, if you look up electronic symbols, there are certain symbols for different stuff, and some of them, like ones for switches and gates, they have a kind of circle with, you know, a
kind of triangle in. There's usually one of the lines missing off the triangle because it's the way it denotes a switch, but it is very similar to some of these kind of demonic symbols. And while I understand that, yeah, sometimes just certain shapes, certain arrangements are just going to pop up on it. You know, if there's 3 components on a board and they all had 1 pin, then that has to make a triangle. It's 3 points. I get that, but it does get me wondering in terms of whether or not there's any kind of like because there's this talk of the paranormal and interference with electronics, and EVP and stuff. So I thought we could have a quick look into that and look at some of what the electronics interference happens. But before we do that, I want to make this comment on intent. You might have an intent for design for circuits to do a certain thing, and it's a separate realm, but intent's an important thing. Comment on, I think, because this is the issue with spiritual and magical practices. They're charged with intent. So while the manufacturer might just get an order and just make a bunch of so many thousand of these printed circuit boards, whatever, and they might have no intent, ill intent. The designer might have, or the designer might have been influenced. So even pragmatically, the criteria might be set even so that it inevitably leads to certain occult symbols being arranged on the electronic circuit. For example, if you wanted to make it happen, but you didn't just want to make it too obvious, you could ask for a certain criteria that you already know it's going to lead to a design that has, some kind of pentagram shape in it, that you have to do it that way, kind of thing, to kind of force the issue without sort of saying, make pentagram shaped things, sort of thing. So, so the intention is, it can be skewed, can't it? It can be layered in there. It's like the lie is different on every level. The first person that tells a lie at the very top, they might intend to lie. Then everyone else just passing on information, passing on a lie, not realizing, or not necessarily sort of intending. So, I mean, I'm aware it's pretty far out, exploring a potential connection between occult symbols and, circuit configuration in the context of like EM fields, but while there's no scientific evidence to support the idea that circuit arrangements can be used as summonings or interacting with the spirit world, we can perhaps provide a little bit of insight into it, because with electromagnetic fields and paranormal activity, that's sort of a well-known thing, EM fields, and even causing illnesses. There's concern with like living near high voltage power lines. Can that be causing certain illnesses, clusters of illnesses, which has been a bit of a thing for decades. So, and we are bioelectrical, so we can be sort of interfered with, and there's such a thing as biofeedback as well. So, but looking at paranormal activity when it comes to EMF, we see some paranormal investigators and enthusiasts have suggested that fluctuations in EM readings can be associated with paranormal activity. But again, it's important to note it's not proven scientifically, and the science would say that EM fluctuations can have natural causes, such as electrical equipment and environmental factors. Okay. International designs. It's possible that circuit configurations could be designed to intentional designs. It's possible you could intentionally design them to create specific EMF patterns for various purposes, including experimentation of art. However, any claims of their effectiveness in summoning or interacting with the spirit world, like before, just more of a belief thing than science thing. But that's an interesting notion, actually. That ChatGPT have come up with some of this, so that's quite a fascinating one. Could you? Perhaps different symbols then? Hey, what about this? Maybe this is a thing. Supposing it was a thing. Maybe different arrangements of different demonic like symbols can lead to the different EMF fields. Maybe you get different waveforms. So maybe if you aim for certain waveforms, you need to like design it a certain way to make it like that, and vice versa. So maybe there's certain frequencies you can go for then as well. Just as a little side note there. But yeah, so I think the intent counts for a lot. Intention does count for a lot anyway. So that in a lot of things. But like I say, there's no actual scientific evidence to support this. But like I say, in paranormal activity, it just seems to come up a lot. And like I say, could you intentionally design something to sort of be like that? Yeah, be like that. You know, I don't know. But getting back to intention again with symbolism, if someone believes in certain symbols, let's get back to some of these demonic symbols back on the screen. Yeah, if so, I suppose there's a belief component as well, because if someone believes that certain symbols or certain circuit arrangements hold spiritual or metaphysical significance, their intentions and beliefs may influence their experiences. So this is often discussed in the context of psychosomatic effects, where a person's belief can influence their perception. So yeah, I suppose in exploring the topic further, you've got to go in with some critical thinking and a bit of a skeptical approach. But it is something interesting to think about. Psychosomatic. So, what if people? Okay, so what if people do believe this stuff? What if it's true? Just a what if? What if, like Bill Gates, he made Microsoft, right, as one of the founding members? And there's a lot of things to be said about Gates, the negative. Gets a lot of criticisms for good reason, and he spent 20 years trying to kind of rebrand himself since trouble in the 90s. So, but what if Bill Gates really believes he's like the devil or something? Like Saddam Hussein for his reincarnation in Nebuchadnezzar. Perhaps he believes he's on a holy mission or something. So what if Bill Gates was on one? And what? Because Bill is also the name Baal in names and etymology and words, and Baal was the first king of hell. So it's a bit of a joke that William Gates chooses to go to the shorter version of Bill, because then it's like Baal of hell, first king of hell. His name's Bill Gates, so it's like Gates of hell. So I'm sure that's totally unrelated, but supposing, just hypothetically, he was evil and wanted to be like the devil, and that, could you do it intentionally? And then would it work if you believe that? Because there are you can interfere with people's nervous systems. There's tens and tens of scores, and I've seen at least 30 patents they've been awarded patents for controlling a person's nervous system or interfering with it. One of them was the Navy had one. U.S. Navy had one that was using a TV monitor, so not a TV screen. Yeah, well, I suppose these days, yeah, PC monitor, to somehow engage with your nervous system using the EM fields. Okay, in fact, should we look that up now? Because that's a thing. That's the thing. Yeah, we'll get this up on the screen. We'll do it right now. Yeah, nervous system pattern. Control nervous system Navy pattern. There we go. Let's see if we can get Navy pattern for controlling a person's nervous system. There's one from 64. I know there was one, and I've seen one that had a really good image. Yeah, let's get the images up just to see. It's this one here. Because it just blatant shows you the image. So the image is just, it's just showing you VCR, and then, your boxes there, your TV, and then all your equipment connected to it, and now the EM fields where they're going to flow and interfere. And this is an abstract from patent application US 09/872-528. That's the application. Oh no, sorry. US patent number is US 6506148B2. That's US 6506148B2. Yeah, nervous system manipulation of electromagnetic fields from monitors. The abstract says psychological effects can be observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with a weak electromagnetic fields that are pulsed within a certain frequency near half hertz or 2.4 hertz, such as to excite sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. For the latter, the image pulsing, for a TV set, the image pulsing may be embedded in the program's material, so you can underlie it inside programs that you watch in the TV or a movie or whatever. Or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream either as an RF signal, radio frequency signal, or as a video signal. The image displayed on the computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in nearby subjects may be generated, even as the display images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. So that subliminal intensity, trying to make it so you can't even see it. So does that mean turn up subliminal intensity? I don't know. What's it saying? Try and go in hard. Get hardcore with it. So just to prove the point there, as wild as it seems, as crazy as it seems, we'll go, oh, you have demons in circuits. Can you mess with people and do evil with a circuit board? As wild as it seems, you gotta understand. We're in a EM soup. Electromagnetic field soup, electronic stuff everywhere. We've been doing heavy industry for 200 years. It's not that long in the grand scheme of things, but it's a long while in terms of human lifetime. We've got all these electronics now. We're in a soup of it. So just something to think about. If, supposing, you can screw with people with electronics, would someone do it? Oh, they already are. They already are. So this is such a thing as evil entities that want to mess with you, and you can screw with people using electronics. Can they use it too? It's not a question of whether or not can you do it. It's a question about whether or not, do non-humans do it? And I would argue probably happening. But if there are such a thing, definitely happening. But yeah, anyway, we'll just go to a little break now, and we'll come back just after this quick little 4-minute break. But yeah, just something to think about there. So returning in just a moment. Exiled Minds podcast. Me, the famous Liam Martin.
The Chigos have the same God.
Back talking about demon circuits.
And space is just a shortcut.
He won't even notice you. And suddenly he'll grab you. He'll throw you in a corner and he'll say, do you know that if is the middle word in life?
Okay, easy, sir. I'm Captain Joyner, United States Army Special.
If you keep your head down without you, he's a really grand family. If you can trust yourself and all without you, I can't. I'm a little man.
Have people from your world been here before? Before, I guess.
Okay.
We are interested in your species.
He's a great man. I should have been a pair of ragged claws.
You are a strange species. Not like any other. You would be surprised how many you are. Intelligent but savage.
Hey, Vincent, why do they call aliens chigs? Because they look like chigos. They're like fleas. They burrow themselves in your skin. To me, they look more like praying mantis.
You don't understand the first thing about humans. They're at their most formidable when they're threatened.
That challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone.
You are at your very best, and was our worst.
You're tuned into Troubled Minds Radio Network on KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where we peer into the future, embrace the power of AI, and delve deep into the conspiracies that shape our world.
Are you looking for a way to connect with your spirituality? Look no further than Spirit Magica Crystal Shop. They have a wide variety of crystals, from amethyst to obsidian and more, including crystal packs, unique deals, and amazing customer service. The products are made with the highest quality materials and are backed by their satisfaction guarantee. Spirit Magica Crystal Shop are committed to helping you find the tools and resources you need to live a magical life. So what are you waiting for? Visit Spirit Magica today. Use coupon code Troubled Minds, all one word, at checkout for 25% off your first purchase.
KUAP, Digital Broadcasting, the Troubled Minds Radio Network.
Making me crazy. I'm reaching out.
Today we're looking at the topic of summoning in circuits. Is there demonology inside circuit boards? Can we put demonology? Can we do crazy crap with it? Because I think we might be able to. So circuit summoning today's show, episode 42 of the Exiled Minds podcast. But a quick look into how crazy this notion is to think about it, but then we've had a look to see that actually no, there is some stuff to do with electronics and the EMP fields that can sort of manipulate with people, and therefore if you manipulate the circuits with you know demonic symbols, it's going to do stuff. And in the comments, just read the comments out. We've got Eriko. Hi there. Spooky. It is a spooky thing to think about. I'm Matt Sauer of Temple of the Hour podcast on Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Yeah, so the Temple of the Hour says that the language between the conscious and the unconscious and the subconscious mind is in symbol. And I'm so pleased that you've brought that point up, because that's kind of where we're at with this. A little bit. You asked me to camera over a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of where we're at with this, because that's what I'm sort of saying. If we're getting EM fields that can manipulate us, the Navy can do whatever for a monitor, pulsing things on your tele, and we've already got the tachistoscope, subliminal messaging. We already know about that, and I don't think that's that referencing something else. But yeah, there's lots of these things. So in between, you've got the symbol stuff, So as we see with this stuff, with this quote unquote magical stuff, when you stack it up, it seems to make it work better, and belief seems to modulate it as well. So, yeah. Anyway, let's look a bit more of the phenomenon, with the paranormal phenomenon, and the paranormal influence with this stuff. So, while controversial, paranormal phenomenon interfering with electronic equipment is a common theme in stories and anecdotes related to the supernatural. While there is no specific evidence to support the existence of the paranormal entities or their ability to interfere with technology, such accounts have been reported and discussed for decades, for as long as we've had electronic equipment, pretty much. Okay, because I mean, even back in the beginning days of the phones, it's trying to use them to be ghost phones to contact the dead. That was a big thing. That was a pastime back then, and seances was a big pastime back then in the early telephone days. That was the first thing they wanted to do with it, make a ghost phone. So, you know, can we phone the dead? Is what they wanted to do with it. Okay, so here are some common experiences and explanations associated with the phenomenon. Electrical malfunctions. Many people claim to have experienced unusual electronic malfunctions when they believe they are in the presence of paranormal activity. This can include sudden power outages, flickering lights, unexplained interference of radio or TVs, malfunctioning of electronic devices such as phones and cameras. And this also comes up. Like Skinwalker Ranch is a place that's, we'll probably need to do a show on that. The paranormal place. The people's batteries go dead. Sometimes you hear about this and people go and try and get recordings of spooky events. The batteries all run flat real quick. That seems a bit odd. So that could seem spooky, like, they're clearing the footage and stuff, or it might just be the EM fields just affecting the batteries, sort of thing. But onto EM fields, electromagnetic field fluctuations. Some paranormal enthusiasts suggest the entities or spirits may emit or manipulate EM fields, causing fluctuations that affect electronic equipment. But like mentioned, there's no scientific evidence exactly. And then you get the EVP, electronic voice phenomena. Right? So in paranormal investigation, researchers often use electronic voice recording devices, digital voice recorders, to capture what they believe are voices of spirits or entities. These recorded voices, known as EVP, are typically captured inaudibly at the time of the recording, so you can't hear them when they take the recording, but become apparent after the recording is played back. Oh, hi Daryl, great to see you. We're talking about circuits and demons, and can you have demons in circuits, and can circuits and EM fields influence you? So, want to sleep well too. There's Halloween coming up there, let's do some spooky stuff. So yeah, so we've covered the EVPs then, and haunted locations. There are certain locations that are believed to be haunted, and visitors often report experiencing electronic malfunction at these places. Yeah, like I was just talking about, batteries going flat and stuff. These malfunctions are often attributed to the presences of restless spirits. Skepticism and debunking. Skeptics argue that the most reported instances for electronic interference can be attributed to natural causes, such as faulty wiring, electromagnetic interference from other electronic devices, or sheer coincidence. They assert that there is no conclusive evidence to support the existence of paranormal entities or their ability to influence electronics. However, scary. However, this is a scary story. Which was kind of, I got a scary story for you because I've had one of these. It wasn't scary, more in that it was a bit freaky. It's different. I wasn't afraid. I was glad, but I was apprehensive because my dad passed away sadly years ago, about 10 years ago now, whatever it was. Anyway, yeah, and when he passed away, I had his phone. There was bad stuff going on in the family. It had all been going a bit weird in that for a few months, and he'd not long passed away. And I really wanted to talk to my dad, and his phone rang. And it was like kind of early as well, about 6-7 o'clock in the morning, and it just rang random. Someone was ringing for him though, so his name came up on the phone, and I thought, well, but you don't know that. Tons and tons of people, he ain't got salespeople calling. Everybody knows he's had a funeral and passed away, and it's been a couple of weeks now. I thought, who's calling him and why at this time? Like 6:30 in the morning. So I didn't know what to do because I just prayed for my dad to like speak to me, and then his phone rang, and his name was on the front. I thought I was taking a call, going to take a call from heaven or something. You know what I mean? Go on, son, I ain't got long. So it turns out, I found an explanation, logical explanation. Turns out his brother, his delivery driver, for some reason his phone won't work that day. And so he was forced to use an old phone. And when he turned on the old phone, it automatically called the first person in the address book, My dad's name began with A, so it called that number. So that was the explanation. The timing of that was ridiculously impeccable. So, you know, no scientific explanation, but there's one person's story that's a bit weird timing. It's incredibly good timing, that is. Exactly right. You know, it takes a few things for that to happen. And in fact, impossible stuff does happen. Check this out. What is this? Big ass fan, yeah. This fan, it just happens to have it. This fan, right? This fan, I'll put it on camera. Yeah, this is impossible. It can't exist yet. It's still up. It's still got this fan. It's from a boiler. It's from a heating system. Yeah, it's an old one, busted fan for extracting the gases and that. You know, this was removed by the only person I know in the city. The only person from a customer's house. Then if he ordered a new one and put this one in the box that no one came in and threw it in the bin. And it appeared in my bin 3 weeks later across the other side of the city. And the bins get delivered collected every 2 weeks. So, you know what I'm saying? How's that ended up in my bin on the other side of the city 3 weeks later when it should be on a landfill? Don't know. Saved it because it's like a weird thing. So yeah, strange stuff happens. That fan's like... makes no sense to me at all. Nobody knows this. I don't know anyone else. I didn't. In fact, he was weirded out because the invoice was still in the box, and I didn't know where he lived. And he says, "Look, that's my address. Look." So yeah. Weird. Anyway, on which strange paranormal phenomenon? So, scientific investigations. Well, I want to take this a little bit further with this actually, but yeah. Scientific investigations. The paranormal investigators and scientists have conducted numerous studies into the examination claims that the electronic interference and paranormal entities are messing with stuff. So far, these investigations have failed to provide clear and consistent evidence supporting the paranormal interference theory. So in summary, while many people claim to have been experiencing paranormal interference with the presence of paranormal activity, there's no scientific proof, okay? But here's another one. Here's another high strangeness talking about that. I've had that as well. I've had that biofeedback thing before with speakers, where I was talking to somebody, and the speakers, every time I put my hands near them, they made the high-pitched tone like feedback, like a theremin, like you play them theremins. The alien instrument. Yeah, I've seen that before. That happened before. So I just put my hands near it and like playing it while I was talking. It was weird. Really freaked the other person out, man. But I think you do get it. You give out radio waves. Your body gives out radio waves. It does. So, but I wanted to take this a bit further because I remember there was a Christopher Dunn wrote a book called The Giza Power Plant. Okay, and I've looked at some of these cities from above, aerial photos, and thought they look a bit like circuits. Right. So how about this? With cities, then, they're religious places. You're going to have like churches and stuff and religious sacred sites where people are going to go to, like you turn towards Mecca or go to a church or other similar sacred places. So this gives me this fascinating idea that maybe these ancient city structures, you look at this, say, look at the reviews, look a bit like circuits. And indeed, I'm not the only person that's noticed this. So let's have a look, because Ancient Code did one on Teotihuacan. This has come up before. So if you have a look at Teotihuacan, I'll just read from ancientcode.com. Teotihuacan, an ancient city that resembles a circuit board when viewed from above. From the air, Teotihuacan city layouts mysteriously resembles a computer circuit board with two massive process chips, which in this case are represented by the pyramid of the sun and the moon. And indeed, if you look from above and look... Here we go. There's an image on the screen of what they look like when you green them up a little bit. You put a bit of green around them. This is the position. So if you make them look like circuits, they're kind of in the same shape from above. So this city is shrouded in mystery for a number of reasons, despite the fact that it was one of the most influential cities in the American continent. We know very little about it. In fact, the origins of Teotihuacan are still a subject of research among experts. Around the beginning of the Christian era, Teotihuacan was a village that gained importance as a center of worship in the Anahuac Basin. The first significant constructions are believed to have been erected in around this sort of time, as shown by the excavations performed by the Pyramid of the Moon. The city grew in importance during the Classic period, 3rd to the 7th century AD. At this stage, the city was an important commercial and political node, which reached an area of almost 21 square kilometers, with a population ranging from 100,000 to 200,000, which is not bad. But it does look strikingly similar when you look at it above to like a circuit. Let's see if there's any other pictures. There we go. And the same with the pyramids. Again, for some reason, if you look at the pyramids from above, they look a little bit kind of like a circuit, and they're supposed to be lined up with the stars of Orion. But I just thought it was a bit of an interesting one. Oops, zooming in and out a bit far. And the same again with these the Teotihuacan, carrying on. These pyramids, according to archaeologists, the advanced design of the Teotihuacan suggests that the ancient builders had knowledge not only of the architecture but of complex mathematical and astronomical sciences. So knew the astronomy, to do the mathematics, complex geometry making these cities. One of the most amazing details about Teotihuacan and what makes it different from other ancient sites is that when observed from the air, it strangely out-resembles the city's computer circuit board to process the sun and the moon. And also, I'm going to get this up here, it's found to, it's got an unusual amount of mica as well. And it says that the mineral is found 3,000 miles away in Brazil. It's found nearly all the buildings, housing complexes and temples along the roads of Teotihuacan. Excavations have revealed that the Pyramid of the Sun, Teotihuacan, contains considerable amounts of mica in layers up to 30 centimeters thick. 30 centimeters of mica within the buildings, in layers. Certainly mica was not included in these constructions for decoration because you couldn't easily see it. So it was clear that the mineral was being incorporated into the monuments for another purpose. So what is that purpose? Mica is stable and exposed to electricity, light, moisture, and extreme temperatures. So it's perfect for circuitry. Just so happens. It has superior electrical properties as an insulator and as a dielectric, and can support electroacoustic fields while dissipating minimal energy in the form of heat. So it don't even heat up that much. It can be split very thin, 0.025 to 0.125 millimeters, or even thinner. So you can make it super thin while maintaining its electrical. So even when it's super thin, it will maintain its electrical properties. Has high dielectric breakdown. Is thermally stable up to 500 degrees Celsius, which is very, very hot. I think that's hot as a furnace to cremate people. Wow. And is resistant to corona discharge. Wow, so if you could use that circuit, if you could somehow have computers and memories and stuff, if it can resist a corona discharge without losing its dielectric. Oh, okay, so it could resist the sun as well. So maybe this is a thing. Maybe this really is a thing. No, because I've often looked at some of these pillars. Let's have a look at some of these Egyptian pillars. The columns. Check some of these columns out, because especially now we're discovering about the mica in Teotihuacan and some of these pyramid structures, and some of these columns that you get in Egypt, to me, they're capacitors. These seem like capacitors. They're kind of layered in such a way, and they're using granite, a lot of granite, which has got crystalline structure in there. Quartz crystal, which is used in circuits anyway. So I'm thinking, are these somehow capacitors to storing the energy up? Look at Cleopatra's Needle. When you look at the big obelisks, they're pointed. They're notably got tips on. The tips. on them. So the tip, I think that's important in electronics because electrons don't turn corners, they gather. So if you have a point like that, electrons will gather. In fact, if you connect a wire to both ends of your battery, so there's a little bit of electric current running, and if you get a bit of coat hanger, a little bit of wire, paperclip, just turn it into pull it straight, and then put a little loop in it, and just if you sit it on top of the battery, nothing happens. But if you snip the edges with some wire cutters, some scissors, and just make a point, then it spins around slowly with an eye on wind because it needs to have the tip to gather the electrons. So I wonder if having pointed tip obelisks makes a difference. And then, of course, there was Christopher Dunn, who wrote the book The Giza Power Plant. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but yeah, Christopher Dunn. He looked at the Great Pyramid of Giza and saw that as a machine. So, and to go with that, although it's anecdotal, it's sort of not. The Farsight Institute, the remote viewers said that they'd viewed a pyramid one time and said it had a kind of grill on one side and there was gases coming out of it and it was almost as if it was breathing. You know, it sounded a machine-like, like it was a factory for something at the time. But yeah, so Christopher Dunn, yeah, the Giza Power Plant. So we'll just give him a shout out. That's on gizapower.com. Giza spelled Giza power.com. So that's for Christopher Dunn's official website. So we'll give him a quick read up. In 1977, Christopher embarked on a fascinating journey after reading Peter Tompkins' book Secrets of the Pyramids. Intrigued by the precision and design characteristics of the Great Pyramid, he questioned the conventional belief about its purpose. Though through research and study of various theories, Christopher came to a groundbreaking conclusion. The Great Pyramid was an enormous machine designed to provide energy to a highly advanced civilization. His quest to uncover the true purpose of the ancient marvel spanned 2 decades, leading to the publication of his renowned book in 1998, The Giza Power Plant, Technologies of Ancient Egypt. This groundbreaking work explores the holistic energy device and that harmonically connects the earth with its inhabitants. So, wow, I'm going to read that last bit again. So the Giza Power Plant, Technologies of Ancient Egypt. This groundbreaking work explores a holistic energy device that harmonically connects with the earth and its inhabitants. So, I mean, I've not read this book. This sounds pretty, ooh, man. Oh, man. Because, see, I start with demons in circuits. But I'm thinking, I'm talking more, I think I'm going along the lines of electricity has got more in magnetism. I don't think we understand it fully. And I think it can potentially do us harm. Or like with the Egyptian stuff, maybe we can use it to somehow heal us, and you know, there's good stuff we can do with it. But I think it's something to consider when we're living in this electromagnetic soup. And then maybe some of these ancient structures aren't just grand things that kings have built just to look good. You know, maybe some of them do have a function. And indeed, the way that they're laid out from above. I mean, I was looking for a website that's looked into this a little bit more, but I couldn't find it. But I know that some things are shaped a bit like a man as well. And someone was saying that's symbolic of it. Some of the columns are off, so it's like a person walking or whatever. But I think there's something to the material side of it. And I know that they used to have layers, thick 4-inch layers of quartz crystal floors in the courtyard for the pyramids. So where you got the mica, you've got the mica in Teotihuacan. So in the Americas you've got that, and then in Africa they're using quartz. It's like people definitely, to my mind, people definitely knew stuff. People definitely knew that there was some things going on, and Southeast Asia as well. There was a recent discovery. Angkor Wat, Southeast Asia, really, really old. really old place, and inside there, someone's found a stone turtle statue, where you could remove one of the pieces of the shell, the turtle shell thing, and then inside they found copper wire, in fact. So gets you wondering. It's right. It was where they got all them stupas. In fact, let me get a little quick picture of. Let's get Angkor Wat up quick, just to show the video viewers. Angkor, I'm not sure. So spell it. Angkor. Here we go. So Angkor Wat. So just to describe it, it's got these pointed kind of pine cone shaped big stupas, almost like pagodas, and it's near a statue found near there where he's found this copper wire. So I got wondering if it was like almost like, are they towers then? Is that like a communications hub, or is that a transmitter for electricity, or a transmitter for well-being energy, because it's all Buddhist around there and stuff, so what is it? But it's copper wire there. These things made of stone with certain properties. And I also wanted to quickly mention, we've got to wrap up soon because time's against us, but I also wanted to mention Michael Tellinger and Adam's calendar, because again with the demon circuit stuff, and in Adam's calendar they've got stones that are made of hornfelt that have got acoustic properties, and they're arranged. There's tons and tons, thousands, scores and tens of thousands of stone circles, and some of them they're arranged in these circles, not necessarily demonic, but like cymatic patterns, as if they're using the sound or energy from the ground, and that's where the stones are ending up being. So this pattern stuff in electromagnetism and affecting the real world, there's definitely something to that. And some of these, the Adam's calendar and some of the stone circles there, they resemble greatly the magnetron, which is I've got an image of a magnetron here. What we got? Oh no, I've lost my magnetron image, but yes, oscillating magnetron. No, I don't think we've got it. I don't know what happened to my oscillating magnetron. We'll finish with a picture of Angkor Wat. But it's like a complex electronics devices. So it definitely gets me thinking. There's got to be something to. There's something to it. And the ancients definitely know more. So if there's entities out there and they can lean in and kind of touch us. I mean, listen to James' show. It's kind of starts to seem that way. Some of these ghostly encounters. So I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of the show. I've got to wrap it up. So comments in description. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and check out Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Yeah, Mike's a really great guy. Really working hard. So trying to get people checking in on the station. So anyway, that's enough from me, Liam Martin. Episode number 42 on summoning cities and circuits. You take it easy, folks. I'll catch you next time. Names on my podcast with me and Liam Martin.
The ostrich egg is a single cell and it can grow up to 5 pounds.
Because we were almost impacted by Venus. This is all fully understood. And the astrophysicists have to look at this, and the people that are geologists and all the is.
They supersize the common cold, which, as it turns out, is disgusting.
Obviously, somebody's playing with us.
Yeah, they're showing off. Killing epidemiologists with the common cold.